kind of a rainy Saturday morning, and I sold my little green truck, my beater truck that Mama likes to drive all over the place. And just before I sold it, it sprung a leak in the upper radiator hose, so I gotta put a new upper radiator hose on it. Other than that, she's good, I think. And after I get all that done, I got a bunch more stuff to do. I got people coming, got places to go. I gotta win and influence friends and enemies and stuff like that. You know how it is. Look there, another Q-Jet showed up this week. This is kind of like the Q-Jet retirement home here. Folks just keep bringing them. But that's okay. I'm gonna have to rent a storage space somewhere and store Q-Jets, I guess. Living up to my YouTube fame here, ain't I? Let me see if I can't straighten that up a little bit so I can find a pair of pliers so I can get my hose off that S10. Alright, sort of cleaned off my workbench pretty much, and then while I was doing that I tipped over an old Band-Aid container full of copper rivets, and so the little man's got the pleasant task of picking them all up, right bud? When's the last time you saw Band-Aids in a container like that? You never have. You're too young. Alright, carry on. Continue fixing my mess. Okay? Just can't get much out of that boy. Alright, now that I got things thinned down a little bit, I ought to fix my creeper, hadn't I? This piece of junk creeper. Anyway, don't let me get distracted with that. I need to put a dipstick in this thing, put an oil pressure sending unit in the back. Probably should have done that before now, but I didn't. And some other stuff. I think my man is going to the junkyard today. Been like 3-4 weeks. Probably he won't come up with a drive shaft anyway, and I'll have to modify the one I got. But let's just see what happens. Remain optimistic, right bud? Yeah. Always remain optimistic if you can. If there's any way, if it is all possible, try to be optimistic if you can. So this thing ain't too far from running. It's going to need a little gas in it. Needs a dipstick, needs an oil pressure sending unit, needs a temp sending unit, but don't need that to run. And I got to figure out some more of this wiring. Probably be handy if it was running for me to do that. It needs a drive shaft in it. I think that's about it, huh bud? Be nice to get this running this weekend so we could get it out the shop. And we got a new toy sitting out there we need to do a little work on so Mama can drive it. But we'll show that to you later. Later, Gator. In a while, Crocodile. You got any? Okay, just leave it to me then. Well, I built a little throttle bracket for the spring, which looks like it's going to work, but I got to leave off of this because Mama came back with the upper radiator hose for a little green truck, so I'm going to put that on. I won't film that because that's pretty boring. Alright, here's what I've been studying on the last few. I went and bought an oil pressure sender. Good grief, the thing's $32. And I got that in there. And I've got the wires stubbed up. But it appears to me that the wires for the gauges and the instrument panel must have went through that hole there and back up that way. I'm not sure. I can't seem to make heads or tails of what they cut out of this. Maybe somebody knows and can tell me. I think I know what some of these are, but I ain't 100% for sure. I'm sure I can figure it out. Tell you what, that boy over there is smart. I went over to turn the radio off, and I said, alright, what was I doing? My mind drifts sometimes. And he said, well, you turn the radio off, so you must be getting ready to video. Smart boy. Anyway, I think I'm come a ways towards figuring this out. It appears that that harness comes from the direction of the instrument panel, and it went through that side of the firewall, and it was tangled up with this business up under the dash, which I separated, that used to plug into the computer, which I plugged back into the computer. So I think I can dispose of all that, and I can figure this stuff out. I think the harness to the left is for instrument panel, the harness to the right is for the heater. That's what I'm thinking, and I might be right. I was kind of getting a little disheartened here. I know that's hard to believe. In fact, I was thinking of pushing the junk outside and letting her set. But I said, no, let's persevere. Let's try to do something. So I rigged a jumper wire here to this here wire. And if you'll recall, if you watch all my videos, which probably none of you do, but if you do, we didn't have no headlights. And the radio wouldn't work. But I applied power to this wire, right here. Now, turn the headlights on, bud. Hey, hey, hey. Better watch where I'm aiming my camera. Got lights on in there. Alright, turn the headlights off. Turn the key on. Look out there, the radio's lighting up. Maybe we'll figure out how to run that thing. Okay, that's good. That's progress. Alright, now what we're working on is making a little cover where you can see the little man's hand sticking through there, or at least moving around, because that's where the old harness used to go through, but it was a big fancy rubber thing with a whole bunch of wires. And since we're going to few amount of wires, we'll just make a plate with a hole in it and a grommet. I'll show you when I get done. What you got there, pal?
Crock.
A what?
A crock.
What is that?
The whole crock split. I guess crock.
Where'd you find that at?
Under the seat of the black truck.
Really? Is there any more?
No.
Good. Throw that one away. We can't wear shoes like that.
Just.
Or at least I can. Alright, that's what we whipped up right quick in about 5 minutes. Right? Alright, now you know what you got to do?
What?
Paint it.
Okay.
Let me show you something here right quick. That's the oil filter I took off the truck. Is there anything there you might notice? Let me show you down here. See up there? The gasket is stuck to the block. That what comes from not lubricating the seal. I've seen a guy blow up an engine that way one time. Didn't catch that. Put a new oil filter on, blew out. Lost all its oil. No more motor. Yeah, so always watch for that. Well, we're fixing to quit for the day. I was going to put a new tail shaft seal in that Turbo 350, but turns out down there at the parts store they sold me the wrong one, so I can't do that. Or either I thought I had the right one in my hand and I don't, or something. Pick that up, will you, bud? That's the one they sold me. And Ray Charles could see that that ain't right. You know who Ray Charles is?
No.
He's a famous singer who is blind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the young man just informed me as I was walking up the garage, he said, you know, you got a big rip in your pants? I said, well, yeah, I thought I had one up front here. And he said, no, in the back. So I felt back there and I got this big gaping hole. And I was just over at the neighbor's helping her with her car. Bet you them gals was laughing at me. That's embarrassing. But I let you all in on it so you can laugh with me. Or at me. That's embarrassing.
It really is.
It really is. Why don't you ring the bell and let's quit on that note.
Okay. Once again.
You broke it. Man don't know his own strength. Go to MrHeavyChevy.com and buy a sticker or a t-shirt or a pair of shorts for your girlfriend, or some metal art, or just say hello. And also on Instagram quite often under Mr. Heavy Chevy, you'll see stuff I'm doing during the day that don't make it to YouTube. It's kind of like a preview or something to that effect. Alright, let's call it a day, shall we?
Yeah.
There's a storms brewing outside, and I like to sit around and listen to the storms. Air gets cool and wonderful. And I made a mess of my workbench again, but that's okay.